This is Church Lane at Watford, and this is not Watford near London, this is the little village of Watford in Northamptonshire. And we're just going up Church Lane to have a look at, you've guessed it, the church. Unfortunately, the church here at Watford is locked, so I can't get a look inside. I noticed my camera's a little bit on the skoo because it's standing on a gravestone. These are very old gravestones in this churchyard. But we've got aeroplanes flying overhead, we've got the M1 motorway just over there, we've got a canal, a railway, and this little village called Watford is nothing to do with Watford, north of London, you know, the big town of Watford. But it's the beginning of November and there's not a cloud in the sky. It was a very frosty morning, but I just had to get out on the bike. So we're hopefully going to do ride through Watford, have a look at the canal, the railway, and also cycle to ASHBY St Ledgers, which is a very old historic village. Some beautiful buildings there. I know, because I've been before. I just listened to the noise here, the M1 motorway at Watford Gap service area. This is one of the most accident-prone areas of the M1 motorway. Just a few hundred yards away from the busy M1 motorway, you've got the main line railway running from London Euston up to Glasgow, Birmingham, Manchester. Now running between those two, you've got the Grand Union Canal. That was looking south and this is looking north, and there was once a pub here but is now a Thai garden restaurant. I've got an idea as well, there was also, besides the pub, across there I think was once a railway station. Oh, it's very noisy with all the traffic, but I thought, well, we'll come down to the canal side, perhaps go a little way along the canal. That's the Thai garden, and I wanted to show you this bridge. That's the original bridge with its extension to when the road was widened. This is not a brilliant towpath. Someone along here doing a bit of fishing. How do you? And as you can see there, we've got the railway bridge. Quite a tranquil scene along the canals, isn't it? As I said, this is the Grand Union, and not far down there is the branch off to the Northamptonshire arm of the Grand Union Canal, or the Northampton arm, which goes right through Wellingborough, my hometown. That's looking back at the railway. Nicely painted bridge there, but it's a very long bridge. The railway sort of goes over the canal diagonally. So I think we'd better get back to the road and get on to where we was going. ASHBY St Ledgers, wasn't it? Well, we're virtually away now from all that noisy traffic. It's only about half a mile away. I can still hear it in the background, but this is the lovely little country road that leads to the ancient village of ASHBY St Ledger. Aren't we lucky to be able to enjoy such beautiful countryside? Well, we just arrived at ASHBY St Ledgers. Behind the camera there is some outbuildings, a farm, and I can see some lovely thatched cottages. But let me tell you a little bit about ASHBY before we go into the village. The village is tucked into the northwestern corner of the county, almost into Warwickshire. The Domesday Book entry gives the place name as ASHBY, Ash Tree Settlement. St Ledgers is a corruption of the name St Legiarius, the patrol saint of the church, which stands at the east end of the village beside the manor house. Both buildings are of ancient foundation. The manor was gifted to Hugh de Grentemesmali, I can't quite pronounce that, Grentemesnil, there you go, by William the Conqueror, and passed to various other occupants until about 1375, when it became the principal residence of the Catesby family and remained so for nearly 250 years. William Catesby was one of the favourites of Richard III. After the defeat of Richard by Henry Tudor at the Battle of Bosworth in 1485, which is not far from here, is it really? William was beheaded. Robert Catesby later became one of the leading figures in the gunpowder plot, and the half-timbered gatehouse next to the church is reputed to be the meeting place used by the conspirators. That I will show you. There are memorials to the Catesbys in the church, along with several other fine brasses and monuments. During the Reformation, unfortunately, the wall paintings here were defaced and the rood destroyed, but the remaining rood screen is still magnificent, and some of the wall paintings have now been uncovered. There is a rare Jacobean three-decker pulpit, so if the church is open, we'll go in and have a look at those. I have been here before with a still camera and the church was open, so keep your fingers crossed. It's very, very chilly. It's a beautiful day, but very chilly. Early last century, the manor became the property of Ivor Churchill Guest, 1st Viscount Wimborne, Lord Lieutenant of Ireland, who employed the architect Sir Edwin Lutyens to remodel some of the manor house and to design the row of thatched cottages which stand to the north side of the main street, which we'll go and see those for sure. After these historic events, the village now presents a very peaceful and attractive appearance, especially in springtime when the wide verges are flowery with daffodils, almond and cherry blossoms. So there you go. So we're going to get on my bike and we're just going to bike round the corner and into the village, right? So you have a look at the village from where I've been looking at it. And here are the two thatched cottages that I mentioned. In fact, it looks like a row, but I think they've been converted into just two now. And this is what you find at the rear of the same cottages. Excuse me, do you know the way to the church? Don't be silly, I'm just a pumpkin. Well, there's quite a few cars here today. Just looking up the main street there. Lovely cottage, look at all the berries. I keep saying it's going to be a hard winter. There's some friends of the other pumpkin. And this looks, I don't know what this is. It's called Pump Cottage, and that's all I really know about it. There's some guy down there sitting on a seat. The clock's wrong, it's certainly later than 11:05. See if I can just go into that. There you go. Well, this was once a main entrance going through an avenue of trees to the Abbey, which is way down there. And right just behind those trees is the church, but we'll go and have a look at those when we've been up the main street of the village. Nice cottage over there. This is the village green, and the village hall is up there. And that, I believe, was once the little school. And now we're coming up to the row of cottages which I mentioned when I was reading from the text. Beautiful, aren't they? Got the pub here. Can't remember what it's called. The old Coach and Horses. Or is it the Coach House? I'm going down a little lane now. There's another pumpkin. Certainly seem to like their pumpkins here. Plenty of berries on the trees. This is a no-through road, it just leads down to these cottages. A little bit bumpy. So beautiful and peaceful after videoing near that motorway. Right down near the church now, some nice properties here, including the old post office. That was the old post office there. This is all property belonging to the manor, this is. I understand that the manor needs millions spending on it to restore it, and it's gone into the hands of the Queen, so I've led to believe. I'll just cast your mind back a few minutes, and there across the avenue of trees is the gateposts that I videoed earlier. And right behind me is the manor house. It's a huge property. And as I say, apparently it needs one heck of a lot of work doing on it. When I was trying to think about it, it's been put in the hands of the Crown. That's right. And I don't know whether they're going to spend thousands on it restoring it or what. But there's no way of getting in there. It's all private property. The huge chimney stacks there. Lovely timber frame building. We're going to have a look at where the gunpowder plot was supposedly talked about in the gatehouse in a minute, just before hopefully we can get in the church. Well, there it is. That's the gatehouse that I mentioned, all tied up with the plotting of blowing up the Houses of Parliament, right next to the church. This is a school party that have been going round the village. Very good.
Thanks, son.
So if we meet here at 9:35, so given that you've got to go and you've got to go, if we need to do the
That is, you can see the three-tier pulpit there. Here you're looking at the box pews. These would all be for the hierarchy, so I'm led to believe. Very private. Beautiful carved timbers. Beautiful, aren't they? £17.84 the date on that one, 1761. So that is the church for you. I hope you've enjoyed this visit. Well, there you go. Ashby St Ledgers and the journey on the way here as well. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a gorgeous day, but it is a bit chilly. I must admit my hands are a bit cool. I've done 5 miles, so I've got to do 5 miles now back to the car. So I'm not going to go anywhere else. That's the end of the filming for today. Join me on another day's outing. Bye.